Hey, what is going on, everyone? Luke Briggs here, and welcome back to Total Life Fitness. So, the question that I'm going to address today is a very common one that I get, and that's how to break through a weight loss plateau. Let's be honest, if we've ever attempted to lose weight before, we've probably had many of these. And these are the things that are usually very frustrating as well. So, I'm going to take you through the process that I use to help my clients who I coach inside our program, the Total Life Fitness Academy, the process that I use to help them break through their plateaus and kind of the thought process that I have around doing that. So, just to give some context as well, for those who don't know me, I've been a coach for about 9 years and have probably coached, 2,000, 2,500 plus clients over the years, both in person and online. So definitely have a lot of experience helping people through these plateaus. So the first couple of questions that I'll ask, number one is not related to like manipulating calories or anything like that. It is, are you actually in a weight loss plateau? Or are you just impatient? Are you actually in a weight loss plateau or are you just impatient? Let's be honest, I see this all the time. Like, people start really fast, like they'll lose like 5 pounds the first week, 4 pounds the second week, and they'll lose like 9 pounds in the first 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden, they'll only lose 1 or 2 pounds the next week and they think they're in a plateau. I remember this happened in a transformation contest, someone who I was coaching maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I think she had lost like an insane amount. It was like definitely over 10 pounds, like her first 2 weeks. And then, another client who's like friends with her came to me and is like, so and so is upset because she's in a plateau. I'm like, okay, what's going on? She's like, yeah, she lost 10 pounds the first 2 weeks, but this week she's only down one. Right. So it's understanding that a lot of times in the beginning, the weight that you lose isn't actually body fat, it's just water weight. You're going to lose a lot of bloat right away, especially if you are way overeating. So a lot of times if you see someone drop a drastic amount of weight right away, it's because they were significantly overeating in all likelihood, or they just dropped their calories a lot more than they were eating. So understand that generally, if you want to lose primarily body fat and retain as much muscle as possible, you want to lose between about a 0.5% and 1% of body weight per week on average. The on average part that I just said is the key. Because let's say you're a 200-pound individual, just to make the math easy. That means you want to lose between 1 and 2 pounds per week over like a 4-week period. So between about 4 and 8 pounds over the course of 4 weeks. So we'll see a lot of times, someone will lose like 2 pounds the first week, 1 pound the second week, no pounds, excuse me, no pounds the third week, and then like 2 pounds the fourth week. So then a lot of times they'll think like, oh, I'm in a plateau on that third week. Well, no, you just need to be patient and just wait at least a week. I usually don't consider someone in a plateau unless it's for like at least a couple weeks because we all have those fluctuations back and forth. So number one, you need to ask yourself the question, am I actually in a plateau or am I just impatient? And the second question I usually go through is, are you actually being honest with yourself? And what I mean by this is, are you actually weighing and measuring your food or you're just eyeballing it? Because I see a lot of people all the time, let's say they need 2,000 calories to be in a calorie deficit. They're like, yeah, I already know I'm taking in about 2,000 calories. I've been doing it for a while and I'm not losing weight. Well, do you actually know that you're taking in 2,000 calories? Yeah, I just know. Well, have you been measuring it? Well, no, I mean, I at this point, I know what I'm taking in. But the problem is we are actually very poor as a society at figuring out what we're actually taking in calorie wise. And there's research to prove this or to back this up, I should say. So there's a well-known study in the New England Journal of Medicine in 1992 where some researchers had a group of individuals who were overweight or obese and thought that they had diet resistance. So what they did was they had these subjects talk about, or they had them record what they actually thought that they were taking in a day in terms of calories. And they thought they were taking in 1,028 calories in a day. And then the researchers measured what they actually were taking in and found that this is not a mistake, that they were actually taking in 2,081 calories in a day. They thought they were taking in 1,028 calories. They were actually taking in 2,081 calories in a day. That is double what they thought they were taking in. So suffice to say, a lot of these subjects who thought that, excuse me, thought that they had diet resistance actually were taking in way more than they thought. So are you actually being honest with yourself? Are you actually weighing and measuring your food? If you're not, you need to do that first. Secondly, are you actually, excuse me, being consistent all days of the week? See this a lot. Like, people think they're in a plateau. And again, I'll ask someone to reflect on their last 14 days and they'll be like, yeah, they're like, yeah, I've been good. I mean, last week I was really, really consistent, Monday through Thursday. Well, I guess, Friday night we, went out with friends. So I might've been a little bit older. And then, the weekend we were out of town, but that's not a normal week. Normally we're pretty good and we're pretty consistent, but why am I in this plateau? Well, I'm like, okay, well, you just told me that last week of the 7 days of the week, you were compliant 4 out of the 7 days, correct? That's correct. So 4 divided by 7 is 57%. So you were compliant 57% of the time. You think you're going to get very good results being compliant 57% of the time? Right. So we need to be honest with ourselves. And even if you're compliant like Monday through Friday, but you're over on Saturday, Sunday, you may have just undone, let's be honest, everything that you did during the week if you go over on those days. So this is why I'm a huge proponent of the flexible dieting concept, where you focus on hitting certain macronutrients around proteins and carbohydrates and fats. And then if you focus on, just hitting certain targets, you can go on vacation, you can go out to dinner and not be off your diet. If you're going out for pizza with friends, then you can just factor in, okay, I know I'm going to be having in about this much pizza. So what are the macros on that? And then you can just reverse engineer the rest of the day for what your intake needs to be. So, let's say, I don't even know what the macros of pizza are, but let's just say, you have, to make the math easy, 150 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, and 50 grams of fat in a day. So then let's say the pizza is going to be, 40 grams of fat, 80 grams of carbs, and 10 grams of protein. So 40 grams of fat, that means you're going to have 10 grams of fat the rest of the day. 80 grams of carbs, that means you're going to have 120 grams of carbs the rest of the day. And then it is 10 grams of protein. So that means you need 140 grams of protein the rest of the day. So you can make the pizza fit. You just need to make sure it fits within your macros, right? So make sure that you are honest with yourself in your assessment of how you've been doing. So now if you can answer, yeah, I'm being patient, and yes, I'm actually being compliant and honest with myself. Then if you're still not losing weight, I'm going to say this again. If you're not losing weight, you are not in a calorie deficit. If you are not losing weight, you are not in a calorie deficit. Even if the online calorie calculator tells you, oh, to lose weight at your height, weight, age, and gender, you need to have 1,700 calories a day. You're like, well, I've been taking in 1,700 calories a day and I'm still not losing weight. That means that you are not in a calorie deficit because your body adapts to certain calorie amounts. So that means that you need to cut your calories further. So the 2 ways that you can enter into a further deficit are you either need to decrease total calorie intake, or you need to increase energy expenditure by increasing increasing daily movement or getting more steps in, things like that. So generally for my clients, when I make cuts with them, it'll be somewhere between 5 to 10% of total calorie intake. So, if someone's at 2,000 calories, we'll probably cut them, between like 100 and 200 calories. On average, if you just cut someone, 1%, or if you cut someone like way up to 20%, that's too much. So somewhere in that 5 to 10% is usually the sweet spot for most people. So that's the process that I usually take people through. Number one, we'll manage expectations. Number two, are you being honest with yourself? And then number three, we'll make an actual adjustment if you can answer positively to both of the first ones. So that's the process that I use when I'm coaching my clients inside our coaching program. And if you have any further questions about that, if this resonates with you, feel free to reach out and we will talk soon.